Hey everybody, Michael Hitchborn here with the Lepanto Institute, and I am here with my good friend, just met at the Cleveland Right to Life, Bringing America Back to Life conference. She was just telling me, I'm sorry, well, your name is, once again, what's your name?
Obianuju Ekeocha, but everybody would know me as Uju, and I run this organization called Culture of Life Africa.
Right, and you're a microbiologist?
Well, I studied microbiology in Nigeria. I studied biomedical sciences in London. Now I work in England as a biomedical scientist.
Fantastic. So, and you're a Catholic?
And I am Catholic.
Fantastic. So, we were just talking about Catholic Relief Services,
Yeah.
and we were talking about some of the things that I've investigated. And you told me something very interesting about how CRS seems to be very conspicuously absent.
Yeah, this actually, I started doing pro-life work back in 2012, and before I started, I was like, let's say the average Catholic. I knew only, about the fact that American bishops they talk about Africa, they try to raise money through CRS, and I was honestly very, very in favor of CRS, at least the little or the much I knew about them by looking on their websites. But when I started doing pro-life in Africa, I felt it was kind of curious because I thought that when I would go into African countries, I should see CRS. They're giving pro-life support in addition to all the wonderful things that that they're doing, or they say they do, the Rice Bowl campaign, all those wonderful things that many of us hear and see them speak about. I thought, okay, when I get into an African country where they are fighting to keep their laws pro-life, because it becomes a battle when a country like Uganda is having to fight against pro-abortion people who come from the West. And I thought, okay, when I get there, I would see, what I should see would be the Catholic community and other Christian communities, and maybe an organization like CRS that is coming from the United States, but that is supposed to have at the core of their message the gospel of life. I thought I should see them fighting on ground, supporting the people who are fighting. But instead, what I saw in many of these African countries that I've been to is just the Catholic bishops struggling on their own. And many times I've actually asked them, so where is CRS? I remember back in 2014 that I had helped the Catholic Bishops Conference in Nigeria to organize the first ever pro-life event that the Catholic bishops were hosting, and I had sent an invitation to CRS because I told them I wouldn't want to do a big event like this, a big pro-life event like this, without having CRS present. So I sent out an invitation to their president. I think I even sent him like an email, and I was saying, please try and be there at this event, because I thought if anybody should be present at this event, at this great inaugural event, it should be CRS. What happens was that CRS did not show up.
Really?
What happened was that CAFOD did not show up. CAFOD is the equivalent of CRS in England. So these are organizations and agencies that are supposed to be funded by the Catholic bishops, but who are supposed to be doing humanitarian work, and they're supposed to bring Christ through humanitarian work. That is not just USAID doing this work, that we are coming to do humanitarian work, but with with the mind of the gospel. So CRS did not show up for my event, and they didn't even show up for the Catholic bishops. I complained about it. The following year, we did another event in Ghana. They didn't show up. The following year, we have done events in Cameroon where they didn't show up, and they are supposed to be in these countries. If you look on their website, they are present in almost all the African countries. They are doing a lot of work, or they claim they're doing a lot of work. They're providing water, they're providing food. But I say all the time, organizations like CRS is not the only organization, unfortunately. There is Caritas International, and there, CAFOD, all these organizations that are supposed to be doing humanitarian work with the mind of the gospel. I say to them, or I say about them, if you are busy digging the wells for people, you say you're digging wells, while our enemies, the pro-abortion people, the Planned Parenthoods, the Maristabs Internationals, are coming in to dig the graves of African unborn babies, then it will be a shame that you are there and abortion becomes legalized in these African countries that don't have legal abortion, and who do not want legal abortion, by the way, but who are all the same struggling against the force of millions of dollars coming from American government, at least during the Obama administration, and the British government and the French government. Across the Western countries, a lot of money coming in to try to legalize abortion by convincing African politicians.
That's really, really interesting. Now, I have another question for you. You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about it. You've actually approached them and invited them to your events.
I have invited CRS particularly. I have tried to get them involved, but they didn't show up. They didn't give me a reason why they didn't show up. But they just didn't show up for the event.
So they never actually explained why they don't show up.
No. So they haven't showed up. They haven't showed up, and they haven't told me why they're not coming for the pro-life events. Is it that you're not pro-life? Is it that even if you will not respond to an ordinary pro-life organization in Africa, let's say there are so many organizations that you can't keep up with all the invitations you're getting. But how about this? That I am inviting you in the name of the Catholic bishops. Are you not there to support the Catholic bishops in Africa? So why aren't you coming for their events, their pro-life events?
You know, it's funny because here in the United States, one of the things that we hear most of all is that Catholic Relief Services works with the bishops. They do pro-life work. They are a pro-life organization. That's what they tell us here in the United States. But when I talk to you, and I've talked to other people in Africa, last October I was in Kenya, and I was told by priests and bishops there in Kenya that CRS does not work with the bishops, that they work around the bishops, and that they actually don't do any pro-life work. And they say that they don't want to have anything to do with it because it's divisive.
Right. Now, I have heard that as well, that, oh, we don't want to be doing controversial work, or we don't want to get involved with all these battles. But how about this, CRS? If, like, in a country like Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon, any of these countries where they don't have legal abortion, they do not want legal abortion, but their politicians can be bought. A lot of African politicians can be bought. And many people who are now doing pro-abortion work know that the fastest way to get abortion into a country is to ignore the entire population in the country and just go directly to the parliament. And that was how an abortion bill was actually successfully passed at the parliament, which was an abortion bill. So I went to Sierra Leone back in July, and I was fighting against this bill that had been passed and hadn't been signed into law, and I was working with the Catholic bishops, and I didn't see CRS anywhere near helping us with the fight. It was a really difficult fight because I had to do many town hall meetings, and it was an expensive thing. Nobody from CRS was coming out to give support to this country that was really struggling with everything they have to avoid the legalization of abortion. Think about this. In the US, you've had legal abortion since 1973. If CRS had a chance in 1972 from stopping Roe versus Wade from happening, knowing what has happened from Roe versus Wade, will CRS not do that? Will CRS not try to stop the legalization? Because once you've legalized abortion in a country, it is most difficult to go back. What people then tell you is, oh, let's restrict it, let's make it difficult. Then it becomes a 40-year battle. It becomes a 50-year battle. In the UK, we've had legal abortion for 50 years, and we are still. It doesn't look as if abortion can be taken back. This evil that has been brought into society. It doesn't look as if we can go back on it. So African countries are in 1972 when it comes to abortion. And we don't want a 1973. We don't want a 1973 to happen to us. No.
This is very enlightening, and folks, I really hope that you take to heart what she said. Once again, can you give us your name, your organization, and give us a website also so that people know how to get information on what you're doing and everything else. So go ahead.
That's fine. So my name is Obianuju Ekeocha, and where I am most present is on Twitter, and people might know me, my Twitter handle at Obianuju, at OBIANUJU. I am there every day doing battle. I am fighting Western forces who are trying to bring abortion into Africa. I am fighting organizations and NGOs who are doing all sorts of things to try to colonize Africa again, and what I'm calling the dictatorship of the wealthy donor. And you can also see a lot of my work on cultureoflifeafrica.com. Very easy.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Okay, God bless you.
All right, Michael.